And I'm ready to go. There's so much to work on. If I'm gonna get anything done, I need to get to work fast. This is a vanilla cream ale by Black Horse Brewery. We're gonna give it a taste test. This is number 6. Brew Beer! We got a horsey. It's got a cool cover. Don't love this little graphic. It looks kind of lazy. Your turn. That's illegal.
No. Because they were all orange.
You know what? It's ridiculous. Come on. Get the cheese. Get the cheese. Get the cheese. Come on, get the cheese. Oh, good boy.
Oh, crap.
Forehead. Perfect. So I'm at the most magical place on earth, and I think it's time for this whole black and white thing to be done. So let's get some color back in. There we go. That's beautiful. Much better. I was gonna wait till week 4 when I start talking about branding, because that's really important to put color into these videos. But I don't want to do that. This is Magic Kingdom, and so to take out all the color just seems wrong. So we're going back to color. You're welcome. I came here just for my basic white girl shot of the castle, of the Starbucks, and of myself. Yeah. Work ethic. Boy, am I bad at it. If you know anything about the Enneagram, then you know that 7s, which is what I am, are spontaneous, and impulsivity is their kryptonite, and it is mine. So I've been really bad since this whole thing started at trying to progress and move forward and get better at stuff. And the harder I tried, it seemed, the more I spun my wheels without going anywhere. So I had to find a solution. I had to fix it somehow. And that really started with me identifying the key problems. I realized one big thing for me was, you know, in school and whatnot, I always did well. And in jobs, I always did well. But when it came to my own personal things, I just didn't feel the motivation. I noticed that I needed accountability, I needed friendship, I needed fun, all that kind of stuff. So I set out to create a brain trust. And a brain trust is a term that I heard from Ed Catmull's book called Creativity, Inc. And it basically came down to when Pixar was creating movies, they had a group of people who were incredibly candid with each other and could critique each other and could give suggestions and share their problems and all that kind of stuff. And it was all basically done from a healthy standpoint. Similar thing I heard about these group of writers who would get together and they would have a beer together for an hour and or a couple hours, and then they would work together for a couple hours, meaning that their friendship had to come first, the camaraderie had to come first before they could really get into the work at hand. And I knew that I needed that. So I set out to create my own brain trust. But when it comes to that, of course it was like, man, I really want talented people, you know, or I really want people that can help me grow. But what I realized was really what I needed was just people who were gonna be willing to show up. And people that were committed, and people that were just good people I would want to spend time with. And so one of the first people that came to mind was my friend Jackson, who I did not know super well at the time, but I talked to him, told him my idea, and he was on board. So we started this thing called the Brain Trust, not really knowing what it was, just knowing that we wanted to try something new. And here's what he has to say about it so far.
The Brain Trust is an accountability system with a great deal of lenience, which for me is the best kind of accountability system.
What would you say the ratio is of goofing off to doing work?
The ratio of goofs and spoofs to works and twerks. that was not good. A good 3 to 1.
Really?
On a.
I was thinking like 40-60.
But 100% of it is a good time.
Yeah.
So really, what more can you ask for?
Do you agree or disagree that the goofs are like imperative to the work?
The goofs are essential because without the goofs, you can't bear down to dig deep and get the work done.
Sometimes the chill part is as productive as the work part.
Yeah.
Which sounds weird, but I think it's true.
We get a lot done pretty fast. I think
that's true.
It's really freeing to present a little thing that you've worked on. A, just to get it out there to someone's ears that aren't your own, and B, to get criticism that improves it instantly. Is a good thing that too many creatives don't take advantage of, and that's what we got here.
Yeah. So yeah, we hold each other accountable. We meet once a week, and we goof off together. We eat burritos together. We'll have a beer together. We'll just hang out together. Play video games, and then we'll dive into the work, and it's a blast, and it has been insanely helpful. Part number 2 that I needed to do was, I love Bob Iger's book, The Ride of a Lifetime. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it. Very, very interesting and inspiring to me personally. There's a chapter in the book where he talks about his priorities in running the company, and how he started to list tons of them, and this guy who was helping him with his basically campaign to become CEO was like, no, you can't do that. You only get 3. You get 3 priorities. They need to be focused, they need to be inspired, and you need to repeat them all the time. They need to be clear, and they need to be repeated constantly. And I noticed that was big for me. I have been a big believer in this whole thing of good in, good out, or garbage in, garbage out. And so basically whatever I want to focus on, I need to put in front of my nose 24/7. And so I made that happen. I wrote out this little document right here. Read it if you want. And I set an alarm, and I read this every single day. And it has been wildly helpful. It's just kind of been a compass. When there's a million things to focus on, it's always good to come back to those 3 things of these are the most important, where they require the most of my attention, the most of my energy. So that's been great. And with that, I need a break, so let's go ride some stuff. Okay, great. So last but not least, now this is probably the corniest, but also probably the most helpful. Even with these great things in mind, having accountability, having friendship, I still will get to this place where I just am scared of like, what's gonna happen next? Do I, when I have a bad show, I'm like, that wasn't even fun. Why am I doing this? Do I want to be doing this? And well, I'm not the kind of person that thinks, the next thing that's gonna happen is gonna be detrimental, that the sky's falling. I've never really been like that. I've always been pretty optimistic. I do get scared about where am I going? What is my future? What's my direction? Those questions terrify me. But also, when I'm determined to do something, I do it. I will stick through something for a long, long time. And so what you wind up having is me, a freight train full speed ahead, and a million little switches where at full speed ahead, I just change tracks anytime I have a worry or doubt. And I have just been coming back to that scripture that just says, don't worry about your life. Don't worry about tomorrow. Today has enough worry of its own. And that has been, as cheesy as it sounds, wildly helpful. Every morning, every night, when I get worried, I just think about that. Howdy. I feel so awkward. It's fine though. Less inspirationally, there is a scene in a movie called Saving Mr. Banks where Ralph, who's one of my favorite characters in the movie, is talking about his daughter and how she's in a wheelchair. And he says, I worry about the future, but you can't do that. Only today. And so the combination of these 3 things, having friends that hold me accountable, that I have fun with, that I rely on and help me grow, keeping my priorities and what I want to focus on in front of my nose. I always say I'm in a constant state of forgetting, so I need to be in a constant state of remembering. That's where my priorities come in. And 3, just remembering, even with all those things, you can still get worried, and it's still okay. You got to learn how to let that go. The combination of those 3 things has been a game changer, and I'm very excited to keep going with it. So here's to work ethic. Cheers.